Are you ready?
A Shot of Wrestling, episode 271. And away we go.
Get a shot, boy. Is that the best that you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot. Oh, so take a shot. Oh, yeah. I'm a street breaker. I'm a heartbreaker. This is my yard. I'm Ramon Rizza. Rick Flair, Nature Boy, about to seek and destroy. It's an SOW. Let me hear you make noise. Take a shot, boy. Is that the best that you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot.
What is up, everyone? It is me, your favorite actor, the Hollywood assassin, Mark Schwann, taking over for Michael J. Putty for the second week in a row. He is not canceled yet, but if he misses the third one, I have to say it. I think it's going to be official. I will be the new host going forward. Michael J. Putty, I hope you're listening, man. I hope you're listening. The ratings have been up. Everyone's been talking about the Schwann and Only here. But, I'm going to give you some love, man. I hopefully this will entice you to come back because I don't like editing. So here's for you, Putty. This is how much I love you. I brought on the governor. I brought on the guiding light, AJ Pan. AJ, thank you for, agreeing to come on to the show, putting away our differences to the side and coming on here, joining me. How are you doing today?
Not doing too bad. It's always fun to come on and join you guys. I think he's still saying, I think Putty's still doing some karaoke out in Atlantic City.
He may be. He sang the same song 2 nights in a row, and it's been stuck in my head. I'm not a country guy by any means, but he was singing a lot of Garth Brooks, and
really, that's a surprise.
Yeah, no, it's still stuck in my head. It's annoying. I would talk about AC, but I'm waiting for Mike J. Putty to come back on here so we can talk more about it. Because my God, dude, I am suffering today. Kind of like the last time I hung out with you.
That was the night. I heard you got lost. You didn't make it home till God knows when. You had no phone. That's what happens when you nate with AJ Pan. It's not cut out for everybody.
You know what stood out to me a lot is the fact that when I met up with you, you said a couple of times talking about Team Tuesday. It's going to be a Team Tuesday.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I didn't expect it to turn into that night.
I didn't get home till 4:00 in the morning.
No, I think it was late. No, we went to the other bar at 3:30.
No,
you went with me.
I only know because of the email I got about Uber getting back home at 4:00 in the morning. I lost my phone.
You went with me to the other bar. We went to the library bar with the two. Yeah,
I did go with you.
And that was 3:30.
I don't know. I know it's after 3. I don't think I was there long. I think I was there for a drink.
Yeah.
I was there for a drink and I left. I normally don't take an Uber that late, but I normally don't stay in the city that late because I live in Westchester. There's the last train out. I forgot, rookie mistake, because of the fact that I haven't been in New York City partying since before COVID, which was a whole other lifetime ago. And I stupidly lost my phone in an Uber. Took me forever to get one back. They never think, dude, I still haven't heard back from Uber about it.
That's surprising because the 1 or 2 times I've lost something, they were pretty diligent about it.
Yeah, no, not me. I was very unlucky. That night was very, very costly, I have to say, for our Team Tuesday.
Yeah, next time we won't say it's Team Tuesday.
No. You ever have these nights, AJ, when you go out and you say, yeah, you know what? It's going to be a nice team night. I'm going to have maybe 1 or 2 drinks and want to be the rowdiest night of your life. And then, au contraire to that, when you say, I'm going to tear it up tonight, I'm going to get after it, and nothing happens.
Yeah. It's always famous last words.
Right?
So yeah. I've tried to stop saying it'll be a same night, but I really thought it was gonna be. I did not plan it to turn into that.
I don't even know how that happened. Things just unraveled so fast.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like, ladies and gentlemen. A night with AJ Pan. Once in a while, I know in the indie world, we don't get along. we have rival groups, but off the the wrestling subjects and everything like that, we could get along pretty well, but like, it's just we have conflict of interest.
Yeah, yeah. That's a fair statement.
I do like you. I do respect you. Sometimes I just want to wring your neck, especially when you do the whole guiding light shit.
Likewise. When I see your smug face and you want to be your favorite Hollywood,
I want to be
my stick. I want to smack you right across the face.
Oh, here we go. I'm not stealing anything. You're America's favorite agent, right?
Right.
That's we. Well, that used to be a thing. Is that still a thing? No, right? It gets your guiding light.
I am your guiding light, but that is part of the Holy Trinity. The name of the agent, the governor, your guiding light. So it's all wrapped into.
Talk to me a little bit about you hosted SummerSlam.
I wish you would. That was a fun night, actually. That was a really fun night hosting it with Putty, Green Man, and Jimmy J. It was a good time.
And Vince Russo, apparently.
Yes. My good friend Vince Russo. He is now the watch party GM, virtual GM. So we'll see what that has in store for the future watch parties. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. First watch party back with the Shadow Wrestling since COVID. Great to see. Good turnout. About 40 people came out to watch SummerSlam with us. It was a really good time. Played some beer pong with the Boulevard Bullies.
Now, I heard about your beer pong skills. I heard you were pretty good.
I made it to the second round. I surprised myself, actually. So, yeah, I thought I was going to be out in the first round. So
I am damn disappointed I wasn't there for that, man, because I would have swept you, my man, if I was there. Hollywood beer pong?
I surprise myself when I go out because I'm not the biggest bar sports person. I just want to go drink. But whenever I play these games, in the clutch, I end up scoring a couple of Hail Marys. Everybody's like, what the hell? Are you fucking, are you trying to rip us? Are you?
Next time, man, Hollywood is going to go one-on-one with your guiding light. We may put something online for this, but
we might have to, yeah.
We got to do one-on-one beer pong at the next watch party. I am psyched for that, my man. I understand you baptize some people. What is this? What are you doing?
Some people came up. They wanted some blessings from your guiding light, and I have to help out the congregation. They need me.
AJ, what happened to you, man? We had our beef at TCW. I know I said some things, and, I mean it out of love. The things that I said about you, because I've always respected you. You're someone I go to for advice, or I've gone to for advice. I still view myself as a rookie, but when I first started off in the wrestling world, and I have a lot of respect for you, but you're doing some weird stuff right now, the whole baptizing people. You don't really believe in this shit, do you? Like, did something happen during COVID? Did something snap in you? Like, what happened? Who hurt you?
COVID was a tough period for everybody, and I was going down a dark path during that time. And I decided, do I continue down that path, or do I try to enlighten everybody else along with myself and find the light, which I realized I had inside of me. I always had a light inside of me when I was leading everybody as the agent. But I was being selfish, and I saw a lot of people that I worked with were using it to their own benefit and would forget about me. So I needed to spread it to a wider audience.
So I'm reading between the lines. I learned this, going from a master's in journalism. Basically what you're saying to me is there's a dog outside your window, and you're hearing voice in your head telling you to do this. Got it. Understand it. That's all you had to say to me, AJ. But, I could talk to you all day about all the indie stuff and all the beef that we have. But, this is a wrestling podcast where they want to hear about what's going on in WWE, AEW. There's a lot going on here. So we're going to get after it into the news.
It's time for In the News with Michael J. Putty and Mark Schwab.
All right, AJ. So to start off, I'm going to start off with some real heavy news. You talked about mental health before, very important subject. Daphne passed away this past week. I hate to say it, the fact that she did take her own life. It was suicide. Guys, girls, you listen to the show. Mental health, it is a real thing. I know people scoff at it. I know some people don't take it as seriously, but especially, I personally could tell you from my own firsthand experiences as a younger kid, someone that has had a friend kill himself as well, and just going through my own issues during COVID. AJ, you can attest to that. If whatever you're going through, there is someone that you can talk to. Whether you don't necessarily feel it's comfortable with a friend or a family member, there are professional people out there. There's suicide hotlines that you can talk to. There's someone out there. And vice versa. If you see someone going through something, reach out. Doesn't take much to text someone, just say, hey, how you doing? How you holding up? But with that being said, my condolences out to her friends and family. That is a shitty thing that has happened. Hit me hard when I heard the news. But then, I was scrolling through Twitter about this, right, AJ? And, Carl Anderson made a lot of waves from Impact and doing some stuff at AEW as well. He made an inappropriate jab at WWE on Twitter. WWE, was talking about with the mental health services that they offer their employees. Carl Anderson is something along the lines of that they suck, right? Pretty inappropriate. Probably not the best of timing here. AJ, I talk to you because out of respect, because of the fact of like you've been in the industry for so long. You're the governor of BCW. You have backstage positions in wrestling. So I want to hear your opinion about this. Do wrestlers get a little carried away sometimes in their social media? And isn't there some sort of etiquette, especially at the stage of AEW, Impact, and WWE with all the resources they have? Isn't there some sort of like, classes that they go through so they don't have to be trending like this in such a bad way?
I mean, there definitely should be. I mean, yeah, it was very classless. It was a ridiculous remark to make. I get they try to be edgy and so cool, but that wasn't the time, especially. I mean, nobody deserves it, but, Daphne was so universally loved as it showed. Yeah, it was just stupid. Social media is the best of things and it's the worst of things. It's the worst of things because it gives too many people a voice and they can just say whatever they want when they shouldn't. And yeah, that was just horrible. Yesterday was a really bad day for a ton of people. I had the pleasure, but I knew Daphne. I wasn't, we're best friends or anything. I've been a big fan of hers since, she started in WCW. I had a huge crush on her and I got to meet her way back when. She couldn't have been sweeter and always remained that through the years. I would always bump into her or correspond with her with her Facebook or conventions. She was always such a sweetheart. One of the nicest people, always so humble. Now wrestling always sucks to hear about a wrestling death, but that one following it since the night before, it hit me really hard yesterday. I was like, really, if I wasn't at work, I was like on the verge of tears.
Oh man, I'm sorry, AJ.
She was such an amazing person, and like you said earlier, it's tough battling depression, mental health. It is a real thing, and this might get me some heat, but yeah, I think too many. The problem is again with Twitter, too many people use mental health issues as kind of for clout when they don't understand it.
Got it. Okay.
It's right, and sometimes it annoyed because I'll admit, so like me and my back a couple of years ago, because if you don't go through it, it's tough to understand what depression entails. You just think, oh, depressed, so fucking go outside, go cheer up, go. It is not that simple. When my mom passed, I've been battling depression and mental health issues since for the past 5 years. So I haven't been in dark places at times. I thank goodness I've never been that bad, but I've been at points where I did not want to continue on this earth anymore. So it can hit you at times, and it's a very hard struggle to get through. So yeah, I can't even imagine the dark place she was in, and from what I've seen, everybody was trying to reach out to her during that.
Right, and I saw some tweets. One of the first tweets I saw about it was Mick Foley. Saying that he's been trying to reach out. He's actually imploring people to reach out to her because he couldn't get a hold of her. He was one of the first people I thought of when I heard the news that she passed away. I was like, oh my God, I can only imagine what he must feel like. That's heartbreaking, man. Absolutely.
And so from what I heard too, like you could hear the cell phone ringing during her stream when she was doing it. So
did you watch it? Did you watch the stream?
I maybe for like 15-20 seconds, and I couldn't. I was ready to give me like anxiety. I couldn't, and I had to turn it off. And I just every half hour would go on Twitter to see if there was any updates. And
right, I couldn't bring myself to watch it. Like at that point, the news didn't break out that she passed away yet. But, obviously from what I heard, this is a desperate cry for help. She definitely needs someone. I'm glad. I'm glad this was what you talk about, social media being a good thing and bad thing. Social media was a good thing in that moment where, because of that, people did call authorities. If she was by herself, I know it was unfortunately too late, but if she was by herself and she didn't do what she did there, like, Lord knows how many days later would have found out.
Yeah.
The bad thing is, like, you don't go into Carl Anderson, not doing the brightest thing in the world there.
Yeah.
This is me. I have a social media company, local media, where, I do social media work for small business and local brands. And I will be the first to admit, yes, you're right. It's a double-edged sword, social media. But, if people are educated about it, if people know how to do it properly, and one would imagine, especially, I think NFL does have something like this with their players, where they teach them some sort of etiquette and how to manage social media pages, whatnot. You have to think, like, these wrestling promotions, they need to have a talk with their talent, saying, hey, this would do, this would not do, yada, yada. And not necessarily micromanage them, but, like, hey, you're an employee, you represent us. Because that was a knucklehead move on his part. Bad timing. We're all grieving here as fans, as wrestling community, because wrestling community, it's a special community. As our loyal listeners would know, we're very tight knit. We're very passionate people. We're a bunch of outcasts, if you will, in our own way. And yeah, I mean, that was just uncalled for. We're all grieving that moment of someone that's beloved by everyone, seems like, in the wrestling community, with Daffney. And rest in peace. I don't know where I'm going to go on from there, but there's plenty of stuff to cover. AJ, do you have anything you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, no, it's just a really sad day. I hope she can see from wherever she is now that she was definitely loved and cared for, with so much outreach from, like you said, people like Mick Foley, Lufisto, ACR. She was universally loved in the industry, and I'm sure by her close friends and family. Sad day. She was a trailblazer, way ahead of her time. She made it cool for the outcast, like the outcasts, the geeks, the nerds, to have a place in wrestling. So Shannon, rest in peace. We'll miss you. We love you.
Absolutely. And to those that don't believe that mental health is a real thing, please, I guarantee you know someone that's depressed. You know someone that's going through something. You may even know someone that is on the verge of suicide or may have killed themselves. To say that mental health is not a real thing, and I've heard this from people before, and it completely boggles my mind. You need to take a long, hard look yourself in the mirror and practice some empathy, if you will. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and reach out if you're dealing with something. Don't feel you're alone. I know it gets tough and you can't feel that way, but when you get to that place, try your hardest. Reach out. There is somebody there for you. Friend, family, somebody online that you might be an acquaintance of. There is a voice. So
absolutely. Absolutely. We all go through certain stuff in our life, but if you're going through something, right, whatever that is, I guarantee you there's someone else out there that went through something similar. So there's someone that you can share that pain with. Moving on. So Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax, they had a match on Monday Night Raw. I don't know if you saw it, AJ. There were some awkward spots in there. I was looking at this. This is not like a typical Charlotte Flair match. It looked like they were really getting at it at one point. Some vicious shots in there, especially from Nia Jax. You see like the looks in their faces. It was very weird. It's now been confirmed by WWE producer Devon Dudley that, yes, they did come to blows for real in the ring there. But it seems like this is going to be an ongoing program. It's being advertised, Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax rematch Monday Night Raw, especially after Nia Jax got the win clean. Do you see this, again, going to your expertise here, do you see this something that could be a problem? Do you think it's something that they would resolve? And, Nia Jax, you hear a lot of this, not the first time you hear something about her.
Yes.
And, she definitely has a bloodline, if you will. How does that get managed? Because I feel like anyone else, she would have been out the door by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we've heard throughout years, there's many times there's been backstage altercations, but they've ended up having to work together. That you should be professional, even if, it shouldn't come out on screen. Like we've seen Goldberg and Jericho, they had backstage brawls. There's been so many. But when you get in front of the camera, you should be able to put it aside and work, because it comes across, it's childish. It looks across so bush league. So, and again, like it's Nia Jax. This isn't the first time something has happened with her. So,
right.
I don't understand it. I am not a fan of. I think there's a common denominator there, but obviously,
exactly that's what we look at. Now, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt here. We don't necessarily know what started it. Sure. We don't necessarily know if it looked like at one point Charlotte Flair was starting by give her some shoves in the face there, but there was a nasty bump earlier from Nia Jax, so we don't necessarily know if that was the reason or whatnot. We don't know all the reasons and details yet. I'm sure that will eventually come out. But, you're right. I mean, the common denominator here is Nia Jax. How much leeway can someone like that get? Because of the fact that, everyone that gets into that ring, everyone that's taking a bump, they're literally putting their bodies on the line here, and especially at this stage of WWE, a lot of money on the table there for someone like that. She's a liability, is she not?
Oh yeah, I think so, 100%, and especially with all the crazy releases that I've seen. Like, it's weird that she's still employed. I don't wish for anybody's release, but when you see some of the talented people who've done right by the company, and then you have her who's consistently had issues, it's a head scratcher. But I hate to say nepotism or favoritism towards others in the company and her relation. I just hope it doesn't go farther to a point where she seriously injures somebody, and that's when they find a site to pull the plug on the Nia Jax experiments or whatever they want to try and push how many times.
You think it's going to get to that point, probably, right? Because at this point, I mean, I think I've lost track. Like, it's going into the second hand right now. How many incidents there have been with her? Yeah, and I think you're right. Unfortunately, it's going to get to the point where she severely injures someone that's when they might be like, okay, Nia, you're done. Here's a pink slip. Your future endeavored.
Yeah, which I hope it doesn't come to that. But yeah, I mean, and it's it's not like she's not like a Charlotte or a Becky where they're like the face of the women's division. Like, Nia's a good talent, but
honestly, no one.
I would rather have Peyton and Billie Kay back.
Right, but no one is good enough. And if you're okay in wrestling, if you're really hurting your opponent, if you're really hurting people, then that means you're not good at what you do.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right, but to go along with this, like, no one, you can be like the best in the world at what you do is certain things in wrestling, but if you're consistently hurting someone, that's the biggest no.
Yes.
100%. Azrael, I think Azrael put out a post recently. What's the number one rule of wrestling, right? And I think a lot of people did consistently say to protect your opponent. She's breaking the number one rule of wrestling then, if not within the top 5 rules. One would say that has to be number one.
Yeah, or at least it should be.
Right? Oh, my God. But then going forward here, I mean, like Charlotte Flair, she is definitely the top person in WWE, in the roster. If not number 1, definitely number 2 or 3. She's up there. She's a big asset for the company. Would you, as a producer or even as like a WWE official, how concerned are you? Like, having her continue this program?
Oh, I would be very concerned. If it was me in charge, there would definitely be some action taken. Either a suspension, or you send Samoa Joe, you send some of these other back down to the Performance Center, send her back.
Yeah. I'm surprised she hasn't been sent back down yet.
Yeah, so I don't really understand it. But yeah, I would, if it was me in that position, I would not tolerate it. Especially when it's this, and it's happened too shouldn't happen to anybody, but I mean, luckily for Becky, it worked in her favor because she turned it into. But yeah, so big Becky, Charlotte Flair, huge faces of the company. You're injuring.
It's happened before. I think it happened to Sasha Banks. Well,
there's been a couple. Those like the main. I know there's at least 3 or 4 or 5. There's multiple people.
And I remember there was one Charlotte Flair years ago, even with her. Like, it looked like she was almost broke Charlotte's neck. Like, there's been a lot of incidents with Nia Jax, and I have to think like this from a marketing cap, putting this on. It is interesting. WWE played it smart. They're advertising this match for a reason because it was trending all over the place on Twitter.
Yes.
People know what's going on. It looked like a shoot. It looked like a real moment there. There's a lot of intrigue now going on. Like, well, how is this going to play out? Kind of like with Matt Hardy and Edge. Well, how is this going to play out? Oh, what's going to happen next? Are we going to see them actually go, or are we going to see them actually go to blows for real again? So from a marketing standpoint, it's very interesting, but from a wrestling standpoint, you gotta put the gloves on there. Moving on, though, some more WWE news. So, very interesting week, AJ, right? This is a whirlwind of emotions for NXT fans. So it comes out that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, they're going to be taking over NXT. Shockwaves, internet was breaking. Like, people were like, what the fuck is going on here? Why? Word is Triple H and company that they would still have a lot of they would have a lot of control there, but overall, Vince McMahon would have the final say, of course. Turns out, reported today, these are not necessarily true, that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard have too much on their plate to be producing the show. They're going to have some say, apparently, on major storylines. They will have the final say to things, but they're more in control of like the marketing, yada yada, the business end. Hence to why we have the logo that's very similar to AEW right now. Did social media overreact to this, do you think, or was there a legit reason why they're hitting the panic button? How much do you believe the new report today that, no, that report's not originally true? Like, do you think that they pulled back the reins a little bit because of the reaction?
I don't know. I'm nervous myself. Especially again. I'm not a fan of that logo. It feels too poppy. It goes against like what the NXT brand stood for. It was supposed to be a grassroots, a gritty place, the kind of alternative to WWE.
And it's funny you said that, because even with that new logo that came out, they're saying, oh, but we're going to go back to the old style of NXT. The branding doesn't match. You're right.
No, not at all. Yeah, and then you have even too, like they would have indie rock artists or like people like Poppy do the theme, and now you're gonna have Wale, who's done like no, like come on, this is not my NXT. It's very disappointing, and especially with all the releases there too. It's like, what are you doing to our brand?
Now, word on the street,
you're letting Adam Cole go, so like, come on, like.
Word on the street is that allegedly more cuts are going to be made. Some bigger names, some names that have been in NXT for quite some time. I was narrowing it down. Tommaso Ciampa definitely is probably going to be number one in that list. Hopefully not Gargano. Like, who knows what's going to happen next year? Vince McMahon, he's been great for a long time. I think people, they forget what Vince McMahon built here. For so long ago to today. Look what Vince McMahon has done. Wrestling, if you will, is what it is today because of him. The WWE sets the bar, whether you're anti-WWE or not. It's hard to disprove. Yes, is Vince McMahon older? Yes. Could he be a little bit more out of touch? Yes. Should he pass it on to Triple H by now? But you look at some of the things that he's in control of. He definitely has say over a Roman Reigns storyline. He definitely has say what's going on with Charlotte Flair. He definitely has say what's going on with like the major storylines, or with Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, yada yada. Those are home runs. Those are doing well. That's why I feel like, part of me feels like, initially I was like, oh my God, it's going to suck. But if what the new report is to be said to be true, where they'll have more say on the final of the main storylines there, Triple H and company have proven that they can stack the deck, the whole card all the way through. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
So if Triple H and company are they still have control there, this could be an interesting dynamic. This could be an interesting balance. Because honestly, there's no Triple H and company, in the creative room for SmackDown or Raw. Clearly, there's a big drop off between the storylines. So it makes me wonder how this dynamic is going to work in NXT, and if somehow, some way that could shift over to the main roster. That's what I'm curious to see about.
It's it's interesting, because you could still tell too. Like Vince gives Raw all of his attention.
Maybe too much.
SmackDown, I don't think he gives it as much as Raw, but at the same time too, like the examples you've given, yes, he does have say over like the major storylines, but those people too also have a lot more freedom than the undercard.
Okay.
So like, even though it's at home, like Roman Reigns now, he's been given the ball. He has a lot of say too in what he does, and he doesn't get scripted promos.
No, he does not.
So it's half and half. Like, okay, Vince believes in him enough now, and that's when now it goes back to the 90s and 80s when there were no fucking TV writers. There were no full-page scripts. It's like, here are your bullet points. We want you to hit. We trust you. Cut a killer promo. And that's what's been, Roman and Paul Heyman have been killing it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's a mix of Vince realizing, because Vince is still a business and marketing genius. That's why he's making millions of dollars on Peacock deals on Fox. And now where it comes to as a business, yes, he realizes Roman Reigns is great for that position. So he realized, okay, I trust you with this freedom to take the storyline, run with it, make me some money. And that's what's happening. So, and then with the other card, when we see these hokey storylines, well, that's where Vince and his writers overwrite stuff.
Oh, totally. But it seems like from what I'm hearing, it seems like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, that they'll be still in charge of the other storylines. It seems like they'll have say too with the bigger storylines too. But it just seems like Vince McMahon's going to have the final say. That's why I feel like NXT, it's not going to be as bad as people think. I'm cautiously optimistic. I have my arms folded. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I hope I'm right. I really do.
I'm hoping too. I'm afraid.
I think that obviously, I mean, the reason is, the rating's been so bad with NXT. It's been averaging around 600, 700,000. So Vince McMahon seeing that, and it's just like, all right, something's got to change. Even the fact that with AEW changing nights, or WWE, changing nights for NXT, it still hasn't worked. So they're trying to fix it here. Clearly, I mean, I think that has to be the reason why. Which is weird though, because I feel like we're getting a lot of mixed reports here. Because at one point, it's the third brand. No, it's developmental. But the move that they're doing right now seems like they're trying to make it a third brand again.
Yeah, it's so hot and cold what they do. Like, even too, like, you don't have to change so much of what you were doing with it. You bring up the NXT champion to Raw, and then he loses. And one of his first two nights, he loses to Jeff Hardy, which fight on Jeff Hardy. Of course, Jeff Hardy's a legend. But you bring Karrion Kross up, you bring him without Scarlett, you bring him without his great entrance. So how do you expect us to look at NXT when you kill off the champion his first week on Raw? It should be treated as a huge deal.
And it's funny, Michael J. Putty and I, we've talked before about Karrion Kross, Rhea Ripley, even Keith Lee at one point. How these guys and the girl, I mean, they're untouchable. If they get to the main roster, there's no doubt that they're going to succeed, that they're going to do well. They're protected. It's going to be okay. And look at us. We've been proven wrong. We have egg on our face, man. We've been proven wrong 3 times. So, I mean, yes, I understand the frustration from fans with NXT because we don't trust Vince. Because we see what happens with NXT. People go to WWE. He fucks it up.
Yeah.
Or creative does. We don't necessarily know, but Vince does have final say. He does get the blame for this. So, I mean, like, that's why I guess there is that like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? But maybe this is a chance for Vince to get to know the NXT talent a little bit better, to be able to maybe trust them when they go to the main roster. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting dynamic. A lot more people going to be looking at NXT right now with a raised eyebrow, I'm sure. But I know it's 50-50. It's either going to be a fantastic thing or just going to be the death of NXT. I think there's really no in between here.
Yeah, I agree. It is definitely interesting to see what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know if I'm excited or anxious, but we'll see what happens. I am excited for the Index wedding, so let's see what happens.
Did you get the invite?
I did get the invite. Yes, I'm going to see if I can make it down to Florida for that.
I'm excited for it.
Yes, I'm here for that. So we'll see what happens.
With that being said about NXT, let's move on to some TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
It's time for this week's TV Takedown.
All right, AJ. I can imagine you don't have anything for NXT, so let's just skip over that. I'm joking. What do you have for us? What is your TV Takedown?
SmackDown, besides NXT in the past, was always a consistent program. I've been really enjoying it. Happy Corbin, which I shouldn't love. I love it.
Right? I was actually a little bitter today watching Happy Corbin because
Why?
Because I just came back from Atlantic City, right? And I had the hopes going to, I had like the perfect strategy planned out. I was gonna be Happy Schwan pretty much. No, that's definitely very far from the case. I'm not going to even talk about what I lost, but
See, that's because you didn't follow your light. If you followed your light,
Oh,
I would have won.
move on. Okay, so Happy Corbin.
Happy Corbin is amazing. As soon as I saw the name, I'm like, this is gonna be so stupid. But I'm like, wait, he might be able to pull it off. And as soon as he comes in with the rolls, I'm like, this is gold. He's been doing fantastic with this new character, from the broken down Corbin now to this with the Titantron, the music, the little JBL kind of two-stepping. Oh, I loved it. I was here for it. And even I hate Logan Paul, but it was a great interaction too. So
absolutely,
it worked
same.
perfectly.
They worked so well together off that. That was fantastic. And I hate Logan Paul. Is it safe to say this is the best version of Baron Corbin we've seen? We've seen a lot of different variations of him, but from the pretty much the homeless Baron Corbin, the sad wrestler that we've been seeing for how many weeks now, to this. I mean, it's some good storytelling right there. And it seems like Baron Corbin is really enjoying this.
Oh yeah, and it's giving him something to sink his teeth into it. So yeah, he's shown his chops. Storyline wise, from the broken down Corbin, like you want to feel bad for him for a bit, but then he'll say something stupid about like, oh, I had to give up 5 of my cars, and like, oh, you're a fucking asshole, dude. Like, come on. Like, I was just feeling something for you, and so that's the great heel in it. It worked
so well. Baron Corbin, or Happy Corbin right now, he would never work as a face.
No,
he would never. He just doesn't have the look. He doesn't have the voice. I don't think he's got the attitude to fit as a face. But this is just gold. I wasn't really feeling the King Corbin. I feel like it got very stale very fast. When he first came to WWE as Baron Corbin, he had a cool look, cool entrance, cool finisher. I think he still got one of the coolest finishers.
Yes. But
there's still something like off. There's something I felt like that was missing about him. There's a missing piece there. And then, of course, when he was the GM, that was just way too much, I thought, personally. But this is just great character work. He definitely found his niche here. Like, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great turn for him. Yeah, when he first got moved up to the main roster, I really wasn't feeling him. King Corbin, I slowly warmed up to it, but like right towards the end in the feud with Nakamura and Boogs, I started feeling like, all right, there's something brewing here. I feel it. And then as soon as he went to the homeless and the dumpsters, I'm like, okay, this is wow. He's where was this guy hiding for so long?
Right, exactly, because he's been on the main roster for how many years now? It's been more than 5 years.
I want to say about 5 years. Yeah, because I'm like, that was a while ago when he won Money in the Bank. And,
right.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And it took him quite a long time to find this moment here. But I think that's safe to say with a lot of wrestlers. Like maybe going back to our talk about NXT talent that's been called up, maybe it does take a bit to find your rhythm, to find out who you are in the grand scheme of things, because like there's a lot of different moving pieces in WWE TV. It's live. If it fails, you don't get a lot of second chances.
Yeah.
And you just got to find your way. And I'm glad Baron Corbin found his way. But obviously there was something there that WWE liked with him, because they've given him quite a few different chances here when a lot of it wasn't really working.
Yeah.
At least with the crowd, at least with me, like it wasn't resonating. How many Baron Corbin fans do you see out there?
Right. Yeah. It's
now,
yeah. Now he had a bad run for a while, but he's catching on now, and he's great on social media too. So he's one of the guys, like, he's funny enough, and he's not overbearing, and he's not trying to be a dick, like taking cheap shots. So he's entertaining. He's one of the few I actually do enjoy on Twitter. Him and Randy Orton are my favorites on Twitter to follow.
Oh yeah, I think it really comes down to, like, especially I'm talking now as a performer. It's a matter of like enjoying what you do.
Yes.
And, coming to like playing to your strengths, to what's natural. Roman Reigns, for a longest time, I mean, they were just trying to force something that he did not work whatsoever. And now you look at him. I mean, Chris Jericho said it time and time again. Once you get the real Roman Reigns, like, it's money, and he's right. Like, Roman Reigns is close to him probably as possible.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's amped up by 10, but like, he's enjoying it. You can tell. CM Punk back on AEW, he's enjoying it. There's a spark in his eye. He found a smile.
Yes.
And I think the same is with Happy Corbin. Yes, I mean the happy gimmick, of course, but even when he was playing the depressed, playing the depressed wrestler, losing everything, you know, he was like enjoying what he was doing.
Oh yeah,
I think he shines through.
Just the commitment he gave to it.
Yeah,
like you could just tell, like he was enjoying doing all of that because there was so much commitment there.
I have to ask you, AJ. Yeah, you have a keen eye for this stuff. Do you feel like Becky Lynch with her new, let's quote unquote, heel turn that she's doing? Because I feel like it's not fully a heel yet. She's trying to be, but I feel like it's not really hitting yet. There's something off about this. Do you feel like she's enjoying it?
I think it's so, and it's hard to say because I've been watching the programming, and I think WWE got used to the Thunderdome with piping in chants. So I've been watching for the reactions, and I don't know if they are like pumping in certain boos or certain cheers. So I think I think she's like playing to the live crowd. I wish I was there to see it live, because she's like even like tonight, the boos that I heard, it didn't match some of the voices.
Right. No, I caught that too. I was like, this doesn't sound organic.
Yeah. So I think she's playing still to the live crowd. So trying to play it in between. Because I think she's still super over. People still love her. So it wouldn't make sense for her to turn completely 100% heel.
And
right
not for nothing. They did this before. They tried doing this before with her against Charlotte. Yeah. Like to turn her heel and have Charlotte be the face. And you know, Becky Lynch, when she's on the mic and when she spits her shit, she's so damn good. And it's hard to boo that.
Yeah.
And she spit some truth tonight on SmackDown about Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I can't really fault her for that. I mean, like, I get it. She's really trying. I feel like she's trying too hard to be heel. Personally,
I think it's like, unlike with Baron Corbin, where like you say he speaks and he just can't be a face. He comes across as an asshole.
Right.
Whereas Becky, if she tries, it's just it comes off as heartfelt and real.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off as her being, a bitch. She's like, no, she's spitting truth.
Right.
So I think it would make more sense for Bianca to turn. So I loved her heel work in NXT a lot more than her face stuff. It's like, it's too, I don't know. To me, it's too much where, all right, we get it. You're trying to live your dream, great success story, but it's like too much now. It's, to me, I think it's falling flat. So let her go back to being, the clap back. You're like, you haven't been here. Do shit like that. And I think it would get across a better program. That's my opinion.
I think if any of us learned anything with Roman Reigns, you just have to lean into their strengths.
Yes.
In each wrestler, each competitor, each talent, they have their own strengths. Lean into it, and you're going to get some fucking gold.
Yes.
Becky, she's her best when she keeps it real.
Yeah, 100%.
Not for nothing. I mean, when Becky Lynch was a guest on Edge's show, in a segment years ago, this after her heel turn, or quote unquote heel turn, cutting edge. Thank you. Becky Lynch was talking shit to Edge, saying basically, I don't care about your broken nigga. I don't care what you want through. Like, this is my journey. Like, you're an old man. You're retired.
Yeah,
talking shit to Edge, who people love.
Yeah,
and she was cheered.
Yes,
people loved it. It's not going to work, man. Her as heel.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's a bad move to keep trying it.
Like, she's got to do something ridiculously bad.
Yeah,
ridiculously bad. And I don't know what that is. I know this is Becky Lynch's call. I know she was inspired by watching Roman Reigns turn heel, but guess what? He was never face to begin with.
Yeah.
He just never was. So I don't know, man. Like, I know when Bayley turned heel, you can kind of tell she was kind of uncomfortable in that role in the very beginning. It took her some time to get into it. And I think her being paired with Sasha Banks and the work that she did with Michael Cole, I think that helped a lot. Then you eventually saw her start to see her really enjoy it and lean into it. And she's done a fantastic job. I don't know if it's too early to pull the plug on the Becky Lynch heel turn yet. I think they do have to give it a little bit. Hey, Madison Square Garden is a hell of a test. It's a hell of a test.
That will be the test to see if a Garden crowd will boo the hell out of her, which I doubt will happen, or give her a thunderous applause. So we'll see what that.
If she can get a hot New York crowd in Madison Square Garden, if they can get them to boo her out of the building, then obviously they're doing the right thing.
Yes.
And
so we'll see.
We shall see, but that's going to be a big test. AJ, I have to say, so my takedown, I have a couple things I'd like to go over. We have some time here. Going along with SmackDown, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, that match, was solid.
It was a really enjoyable match. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. There were a few times there where it looked like Finn Balor might actually fucking win this thing. And I was like, oh, there's no way it's happening. There's no fucking way it's happening. But even with the beat down at the beginning, great heel work there with the Usos, especially like not like Roman Reigns needs it, but they're doing a great job making sure Roman Reigns is not cheered, which you could be easily do. Like we've seen it before, when you do such a good job being heel, you eventually get turned face because the fans just love what you do. But they're doing a good job keeping that heat on Roman. How do you feel about it? We got a tease for the Demon at the end there.
That was interesting. Yeah, it took me a second.
Right.
I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on with that? I'm like, oh, all right. So I think it's, because I didn't like the way Finn Balor came back after the run he had at NXT as being, back a throwback to like the New Japan, to the Prince. And then he comes back to SmackDown. He's, back doing the lights and stuff. I'm like, why you, I want to see him on SmackDown being badass Finn Balor. Like, why is he doing all this? Hokey, hey, like me, look at this. Hey,
going back to the smiling.
No, you just, really, 2 weeks ago, you were shitting on the whole NXT and telling them how you were the best, better than everybody. The business watches you. And now you're going back to, hey, look, lights go on, lights go off. Hey, look at me.
No, and you're right, pretty much. But this was a good moment for him. He looked very strong in this match, I have to say.
He did. Oh, Balor's fantastic. Yeah, that match was fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'm glad they kept him really strong. So there's room for rematches.
They did. And notice he didn't tap out. He passed out.
Yes.
It's a good moment there. But the whole Demon thing. Now, Demon, as we all know, is undefeated. It's been a long time since we've seen the Demon in WWE ring. Could the Demon be the one to defeat Roman Reigns?
After tonight, it's possible. I really didn't think. My guess was going to be probably next year, Big E. That's been my thought process ever since the draft when they split up the New Day. When somebody, what do you do? I'm like, okay, the best thing to do is give Big E a slow turn, slowly build him up. I said, give Big E build him up to the IC title, give him a good run with that, then build a slow run toward. So now, hopefully, Money in the Bank. Give him a very slow burn towards that, and he could be the guy that beats Roman and will be seen as a major star.
Side note, I'm really enjoying those segments, those moments there with Big E and Paul Heyman.
Yes. Big E's money, yeah. So if they do this correctly, this would be the big, a huge for Big E, huge for WWE. I think they can make up for where they lost for Kobe, where I think that was, they didn't give him the best run.
No, but then what happens? How does the Demon figure into this, though? I mean, is this the moment the Demon loses for the first time? I mean, if it's going to happen, Roman Reigns is the one to do it, right?
Yeah, I hope.
A lot of interesting variables going on here.
And give Finn a little bit of a run. Why not?
A lot of interesting variables here, though. You have Finn Balor teasing the Demon coming back. You have Brock Lesnar coming back next week.
Yes.
You have Big E with the Money in the Bank contract. And you also had last week Edge saying, I'm coming for the championship. But we all know he's going to continue that program with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Still, so you have three guys in this fold right now. We have Extreme Rules coming up. Lots of possibilities here, man. Lots of possibilities. I don't know which way they go. Do you? I mean, you're a booker. You tell me, man. Where do you see this being lined up?
I said, I originally I was going to go I would have went for the Big E slow turn, but I love Balor. So if I was given that choice and they gave him, I would say give Balor a run, build him up, maybe do a couple more where he gets beat, and then finally he snaps and the Demon comes out, and the Demon could be the guy to beat Roman. I wouldn't hate that.
Does he beat him clean? Does Brock Lesnar get involved somehow? Is there a cash in that with Big E? Again, it's just,
if you're gonna bring out the Demon has to win clean.
He's got to win clean, right?
He has to.
How much does that
tonight,
hurt?
He could have.
How much does that hurt Roman Reigns, though? And especially now, it's been confirmed The Rock will not be at this year's WrestleMania. It looks like it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar this coming WrestleMania. It's just, we're getting Brock Lesnar next week. We have a long time away before WrestleMania. 8 matches allegedly for his contract. What is happening? I don't get it. I'm trying to do the math. I have the strings going along the wall. I have a board up. I have Post-it notes, people written all over it. I'm trying to figure it out, trying to make sense of it all.
This is the one of the few times it's interesting on what's going to happen. I would I would try and stretch it to I wouldn't do Brock Roman for Mania. I would do it at the Royal Rumble, and I would have Big E and Roman at Mania and give Big E his moment. Because with Roman and Lesnar, just with Heyman alone, you have so much story to tell. Like, that could be a gold mine of months of story. Like, I love Heyman's subtle, even tonight. Lesnar doesn't even have to be there. The ringtone, Heyman's reactions, a little bit like Heyman is a genius. Heyman is money. And you could play, you have so much time to play that up. And then Roman slowly, like, whose side do you want? Like, no, you don't tell. How do you know he's there? And Heyman slowly trying to backtrack. Like, oh, wait, are you in touch with him? No, I haven't spoken to him in a year. So there's so much where you can play now. Where does Heyman's loyalties lie?
That's the most interesting thing, in my opinion, is the Paul Heyman factor.
Yes, you have so much. Oh my! When Lesnar came back at SummerSlam, I was most excited for that story to see how Heyman plays into it. Where do they go from there?
A lot of possibilities. A lot of possibilities with that alone, with the Demon, with Big E. Fascinating storyline. Well done. And it's keeping me on my toes. Because usually with wrestling, especially if you've been watching it for a long time, you can kind of call your shots. You can kind of have predictions and most likely be right. This one, I have no idea what's going on. So that's why I'm intrigued. And that's why it's keeping me coming back every single week. So kudos to the writers of SmackDown. Going on to AEW, though, CM Punk got physical for the first time there.
Yeah, that was cool to see. Yeah.
So that was awesome to see. Obviously, he's proven the fact that the man is a natural in the mic. He's untouchable. People love him. He still has it with that. He looked great. So with that being said, though, and by the way, great seeing the GTS again.
Yes.
It's cool to see that. With that being said, though, AEW All Out, by the time the show comes out, it already happened. But going into this match, CM Punk's first time going to the ring, especially against someone like Darby Allin, first time wrestling in 7 years. How much pressure is CM Punk facing right now?
Definitely a lot of pressure, especially when he went to the UFC and didn't fare well there. I think it's a huge pressure, and especially facing someone he's never worked with before, a young kid, which I'm sure Punk wants to. Like the story so far, what we've seen, he wants to give back, which it seems. We haven't seen him. He could, I'm sure they gave him a lot of leeway. He could have worked with Jericho. He could have worked with Christian. Anybody he's worked for. We've seen him with Darby Allin. We've seen him with 2.0, the former Everrise. So he's been involved with the only person, in the ring with Sting. That was a cool interaction too this past week.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a ton of pressure, especially being in Chicago as well. But I'm expecting a really good match. I'm expecting this to be that looks more like the main event than, hate to say, Kenny and Christian. That's
unfortunately, yeah. Do you think this main event's?
I'm not a fan of the world title match not ending a pay-per-view, but this is the money match. Like, this is like what everybody's gonna tune into, Punk and Darby Allin.
Right, exactly. What does CM Punk have to do to shut up his critics here? I feel like he needs to have at least a 3-star match or above. Would you say it would be higher than that? Where do you set the bar for this?
He's definitely, and especially that day, I'm sure he's working with Darby, training hard, and he's not. Punk is not a guy who's going to go in there and half-ass it.
No, I agree. He's not.
Yeah.
But, no, again, I mean, of course, when he worked with Heels, the TV show, I'm sure he was training. I'm sure he was doing everything he could to get back into it. So, I'm not too sure at what point he was filming before he came back here. And I'm sure if there was that gap, he was continuing up with his training. So there's no doubt, it's not like he's coming in fresh and he hasn't been in a ring before.
Yeah.
He has been training for this. But again, we talk about a lot of pressure here, 7 years. He's acknowledging his critics. There are critics about this. There are critics about AEW even. In his hometown, Chicago, 7 years in the ring to show that he's the best in the world. He wants to shut up probably Roman Reigns and his latest comments that he made. I'm sure with Booker T as well. So he's got a lot of critics to shut up here. He's a controversial figure, CM Punk. I understand the fact that, that's a lot of pressure to carry on yourself. So I wonder, what tier, what level of a match you'd have to have where, this was a fucking success. Because, we went to AJ Styles with Nakamura WrestleMania expecting a 5-star match. There were high expectations for that match. And I feel like it's kind of similar to this. And I feel like, and I hope I'm wrong with this, if it's anything less than, people may be shitting on CM Punk.
I think this will be different than Styles Nakamura because it's from what we've seen. WWE, they pay, for lack of a better term, they pay more attention to their stuff, and everybody, they agent their matches. Where it doesn't seem like AEW does much of that because as we see, like they have more of an independent style with their matches.
They do, yeah.
Whereas which for better or worse, some type of a guy like Punk, he's like, you could see he's reinvigorated. He's not the same guy that left WWE years ago. He doesn't seem depressed. He doesn't seem bitter about the business. That was a genuine reaction when he came into Rampage that
totally.
First night, and that crowd erupted, and you could see like that's he. I don't want to say he's not that good of an actor, but we've seen him in the past just look so miserable. He was genuinely touched by that reaction from the crowd, and he's been so. That's 50%, I think, shutting up the critics, saying, does he still have it? Oh, can he really bring that crowd? Yes, he's got people talking about AEW. Attendance, he's sold out huge buildings for AEW. He seems happy. He's, he hasn't lost it on the mic. Now it's just putting on a good match. And he doesn't want to go in there and, look bad. And he wants to give Darby a good match because it seems, again, like going back to what I said earlier, he wants to give back to the community, the wrestling community. So I'm sure he picked Darby to work with. He doesn't want to make him look bad either. So I'm expecting a really good match. I expect he's going to shut the critics up.
I am hoping it's going to meet that level of like match of the year candidate. I don't necessarily even think it matters who wins or loses here. I think all people really want is a damn good match. And the way I see CM Punk look strong. If CM Punk loses and it's like inside cradle or whatever, or it still looks strong, I don't think people will mind as much. I'm sure everyone wants to see CM Punk win. I'm sure there's also people who want to see Darby Allin get that rub.
Yeah, it's a tough way to book it. Yeah, it's definitely tough. Not the popular answer, and I usually am against this, but since it's Punk's first match in 7 years, and he's been one of the most talked about figures since he left, I think Punk needs to go over. Definitely, it would have to be a match like tonight with Roman and Finn. Finn in losing did not lose anything because it was so back and forth. And there were points where we know the business, and we're like, holy shit, are they going to give it a Finn tonight? What the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Like, what is tonight? So as long as they have that kind of match where you could see Darby almost win, and it doesn't hurt him, I think that's the route they should go.
I think for sure we're going to see a clear winner or loser. I don't think we're going to see a WWE finish where it's like a double disqualification or anything like that. So I'm very intrigued into that match there, man. It's going to be. Whew, it's gonna be so damn good.
yeah. That's what this is one of the moments that we would look for in wrestling.
Oh, 1,000%. And I'm pretty sure CM Punk will deliver. To what level of a star match we're going to see here, I don't know. I know a lot of assumptions about a 5. I'm hoping for a 3+. That realistically, that's what I'm hoping for. One other note that I want to talk about from Impact, Brandi Lauren, someone you're very familiar with.
Yes.
She's been converted to the undead, joining Su Yung and Kimberly. Cool, creepy vignette they had going on there. Love Brandi Lauren. I had the pleasure of meeting her for the very first time, BCW backstage. Pretty cool talent there. Very talented in the ring. Big shift for her normal character work here. Kind of like how Alexa Bliss, doing her thing with the whole Lily and Bray Wyatt thing. Kind of similar to that. I don't think it's going to be exactly that from what I'm seeing. How big of an opportunity is this for her?
Impact is another one that's hit or miss. It's definitely a good place for her to stretch her acting chops. And it's interesting to see. Definitely a departure from everything she has done. But I'm a huge, obviously I'm a huge Brandi Lauren fan. I saw the first couple, 2-3 years ago when I first saw her perform live at a, WWN event. You could immediately see like she has as we have spoken about, she has that it factor.
Yes, she does.
You see star potential in her. She has star quality. So this is I am interested to see what she does with this and see where it goes. But I think she could definitely pull it off, and it gives another dimension to her character.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a big risk for her, I think, because this is one of those things where, as I talked about with Alexa Bliss, this could have been a rough spot for her even as well if she didn't fully commit to it.
Yes.
as she did, and she's showing her acting chops there, and I think it actually excelled her ability in the ring, even from the times we've seen her with this character. It's been fascinating to see this transformation with her, and she's been trending quite a bit. You know, at one point, you know, people were tuning to Raw to see what Alexa Bliss is going to do next. You know, could this be the same for Brandi Lauren? The thing is that she does have to commit fully to this type of character. We've never really seen her acting chops before, you know, to that capacity. It's going to be very different for her, but I'm excited to see it, man. And she's got a good group of women there with her working, so she's going to learn quite a bit.
Fantastic, and Su Yung, yeah, forget it. And she's another one that's, you know, can be like, she went from Su Yung to Susie, where I love the Susie character.
Oh, totally.
That was a big departure for her as well, and she kills it with that. No pun intended, but yeah, that was a
And then Susan
and Sue, yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting to see. You know, for all the slack Impact gets, they've been trying different things, and you know, it's been interesting. Like with that, I was into a lot of the realm stuff, the Undead Realm that they've done with Father Mitchell, James Mitchell, and Rosemary, and that whole storyline. It's been one of the more interesting parts of Impact Wrestling. So
it's because it's different.
Yeah,
you know, and we like different. You know, like we can see, like, you know, all the cool flippy moves, all we want. You know, tune into any channel, you're going to see that on wrestling.
Yeah.
But you know, if you tell a compelling storyline, you show something different and out there. It's just like, whoa, wait a minute, oh, what's this? I haven't seen this before. That looks cool. And I don't think it's fair for me to compare Alexa Bliss, what she does, to what the Undead are doing. It is similar in ways, but it's two different characters at the same time. That's why I'm very curious to see what happens here, because this is probably one of the more intriguing things that Impact has, as you talked about with the Undead.
Yes.
You know, look what it did for Su Yung. I mean, she's tremendously over with that character. And she's got a great mind for character work, and she's phenomenal in the ring.
Yeah.
So, like, I think if Brandi Lauren could absorb whatever knowledge that Su Yung has and Kimberly have, like, she's already had the it factor. It's just going to take her to another level.
Oh, yeah.
Whether she comes back to WWE or not, goes to AEW or excels with Impact, because I feel like people are not talking about Impact enough. They are doing some things right now where it's elevating them, but the fact they have that forbidden door open with New Japan and AEW, NWA, like, lots of possibilities there for the talent there, Impact, where they can easily transcend to any type of a role in any promotion.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's been Impact needs that bigger platform to try.
That channel kills them, though.
Yeah, that's too. And it's like, you know, the whole thing with AEW kind of fizzled out. It didn't really work. You know, like, you give Kenny Omega the Impact Championship, but you don't really see too much interaction with AEW and Impact. It was just mainly a prop to get Kenny as the belt collector. But with NWA, on the flip side, we saw Deonna Purrazzo. She did a great job there, and she's, you know, doing good, and they're putting her over there. So, you know, it's interesting to see where they go. So, but Impact always kind of gets the short end of the stick. So hopefully in this revolving door, they start to get a little more credit, and that might be what they need.
They do. Like, here's the thing. I agree with you how it kind of fizzled out and how they use Kenny Omega with the belt as a prop there, but they still have a relationship. I mean, look, Christian Cage is a signed AEW talent who is the World Heavyweight Champion for Impact.
Right.
You know, so they do have that working relationship still. They do have things planned as far as, like, you know, different matches going forward. We could possibly see Britt Baker versus Deonna Purrazzo. You know, I mean, that's something I'm sure is in the works. That's why I think it's so good for the talent. I mean, it's great for the fans, don't get me wrong. And yes, as a fan, I like to see more Impact having some wins over AEW.
Yeah.
But as a talent, though, this got to be really exciting, because you can enter any of these doors here and you can have a bigger opportunity, depending on what type of, no pun intended here, depending on what type of impact you make.
Yes.
So
no, it's definitely, yeah. If it's done correct, it's a great time in pro wrestling right now. Like, there's so many places. Like, you have Impact, NWA, AEW, Ring of Honor, MLW slowly making their comeback. So, yeah, you know, besides WWE, you know, that's not the be all end all anymore. And as long as now they're all working with each other, I think it's a good move for the industry as a whole, because you can see, you know, it's not all about, oh, you know, if you get released from Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Your life isn't over. You can make money. You can get notoriety, and a lot of good things now about with those other companies that are not WWE. they're able to do independent dates now, which is great for them as well. Where in the past, it was very tough to get, an Impact star or, Ring of Honor star to appear on a local independent show, which now it's a lot more open.
It's great for wrestling all around, especially indies. Yep. Now that the doors closed from WWE, I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity for them to get to work with some main level talent that are signed to other promotions, and that door is open for them. You're right. WWE is not the end all be all anymore. They want to close the door to indie talent. They want to close the door and not to play with other promotions. That's on them. They're obviously going through a whole big shift over there where I think in my eyes, they're going to sell the company. Lord knows what happens next, because the fact that they keep on releasing people and to closing the door to phenomenal talent like Darius Carter and insert indie star here, in my opinion, that's their loss. When Brandi Lauren was cut from NXT, at first I was like, oh, that sucks. But and I was really thinking about it. I was like, no, this is good for her. She's going to be on her feet in one of these promotions soon enough. And yeah, here we are, Impact. Yeah. And that's cool to see. So great time to be a wrestler. Great time being wrestling talent. Because so many opportunities. So it makes it good to be a wrestling fan, as you said. But AJ, that's all I have. Going to go home thoughts. AJ, what do you have for us?
Not too. It's been a rough week with wrestling. The Daphne passing definitely took over a lot of stuff mentally. But looking forward to All Out. Should be a good event. It's great. Well, should be an interesting event. I'll look to see what happened with CM Punk. But otherwise, I think what we just said, it's a great time for wrestling right now. It's a very interesting time for wrestling. Whatever you're a fan of, if you want to see the shakeups in WWE, you have some interesting developments happening there with SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. Otherwise, all the other companies like AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, they're all doing their own individual things. And it's interesting to see where they're going right now. And then, of course, you have the independent scene, which is booming right now. And there's so many companies, not just in the Northeast, like all over the United States, that are doing so many great things, so many unsigned talents. I want to say, get to your local independent show, support independent wrestling. That's where you're going to see your next AEW superstar, your next MLW star, your next Impact star. There's so many, like you said, like Darius Carter, Azrael, Sean Donovan. Sean Donovan's great. Big fan of his. Great tag team. So
Vicious Vicky. We have a lot of, so many people. The Ugly Ducklings.
South Philly's finest. Riley Shepard. Notorious Mimi. Billy Starks. Becca. There's so much great talent out there right now. So do yourselves a favor. Go see an independent show. Support independent wrestling. Buy some merch. Help us all out. But it's a great. Got to throw that in there. But it's a great time for wrestling. So that's really my final thought on, wrestling right now.
Well said, AJ. Well said. Fantastic time to be involved in wrestling. I am lucky enough to be involved in my small part of it as a manager, as a commentator, doing this show with doing Hollywood's Corner, interviewing the talent here. I've always enjoyed wrestling growing up. Always loved being on camera as well. That's why I'm an actor. But, to get the opportunity to combine these worlds and be part of it in my own little way, love it, man. Love getting to know everyone. And it's really cool. I have to say it's a cool experience when I get to see someone that I've interacted with in the indie world, see them on TV. That's happened. And I've only been here for 3 years and I've seen it quite a few times. And it's just like, man, that's really fucking cool. But with that being said, guys, whoever's listening to the show, thank you for joining us for Shot of Wrestling. You can tune in every week on Mondays. The show usually airs. We talk about all things wrestling, of course. But, I want to leave it to you guys. Leave us some reviews. I want to hear what you guys want to hear from us. I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear what you think, who you might want us to have on, who you may want me to interview. We'd love to hear all your comments. Next week, Michael J. Putty should be back. We're going to have a whole different format here. This is going to be the last show here where we do this normal format. In the meantime, you can tune in to me. You can see what I do on yourfavoriteactor.com. Work in progress right now. Some website stuff there. Going to have some more Shot Wrestling material on there, if you will, with the shows, with Hollywood's Corner. It's going to be a cool revamp there because, I want to show my love for wrestling. Might as well show that side of me.
Might as well.
But AJ Pan, thank you for joining on, especially last minute, man. I actually had fun with you. And I'm glad we did this over Zoom here because I don't have to, go home, take an Uber, lose my cell phone at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, next time we go out, I will not say it'll be a same night. We'll just see what happens.
Let's just say we're going to get after it, and then just nothing happens.
I mean, I never even plan some of my nights, so whatever happens. But at least you've seen what a night with AJ Penn is like.
No, I have. I'm down for another time.
Yeah, definitely. We got to do it again. Yeah, it was good. We got Putty out that night too.
It was good to get him out, even though the motherfucker cropped me out of a photo once again. But hey, Celebi, that's Putty for you.
That's why I love Putty.
Oh yeah, of course. Everyone, thank you for listening. Hollywood is out.
Hey baby, I hear the bell ringing, hip tosses and body slams. Oh my. And maybe you seem a bit confused, yeah baby, but I got you pinned. Ha 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 ha. But I don't know what to do when I see them with that golden case. They're cashing it in. Authority all in my face. What is a man to do? Good night, everybody.